Consent is when someone agrees to do something with you, like kissing or touching or sexual intercourse. Before doing any of those things, you have to make it completely clear that everyone involved agrees to do the same things that you want to do. If you kiss or touch or have sexual intercourse with someone without getting their permission, without asking first, you don't have their consent. That is why consent is so important. Asking for consent shouldn't be hard or awkward. In fact, it can make the sexy stuff less awkward or confusing because it's a clear, concise way to make sure that the person that you're with is down to do all the stuff that you are. Consent is freely given. It's not okay to pressure, trick, or threaten someone into saying yes, and you can't give consent if you're drunk, high, or passed out. Consent is reversible. It's okay to say yes and then change your mind at any time, even if you've done it before, and even if you're both naked in bed. Consent is informed. You can only consent to something if you have all of the facts. For example, if someone says they'll use a condom and then they don't, there isn't full consent. Consent is enthusiastic. When it comes to sex, you should do stuff you want to do, not things people expect you to. If someone doesn't seem enthusiastic, meaning happy, excited, or energized, stop and check in. And consent is specific. Saying yes to one thing, like going to the bedroom to make out, doesn't mean you're saying yes to other things, like having sex. There are laws about who's able to consent. If the person you're with is drunk or high, asleep or passed out, below the legal age of consent, or much younger than you, disabled in a way that affects their ability to understand you, then they can't consent, and it's not okay to do anything sexual with them. Consent is a clear, happy, excited yes. Anything less than that and you don't have consent. So how do you get that? You ask. Asking for consent is a piece of cake. You state what you want and then ask if they want to do that too. An example might be, I really want to kiss you. Do you want me to? If they say yes and seem happy, that means they're consenting and you can kiss them. Party on. If they say yes, but they seem unsure or worried about it, they're not consenting. Check in again by saying, are you sure? We don't have to do that. If they say no or I don't know or don't say anything, they're not consenting and you need to stop and ask what they're thinking or what they're feeling. Remember, consent for one sexual thing doesn't mean you have consent for all sexual things. And it's okay for you or the other person to say stop at any time. Pay attention to what your partner says and how happy they seem about it. If someone asks for your consent to do something sexual and you want to do it, consenting is easy. All you have to do is say yes. Or you might also consider, OMG, totally, or please do that, or your own version of, I'm into this. But what if you don't want to consent to something sexual? It seems easy enough to say no, but unfortunately there are people who don't stop and ask for permission before they start kissing or touching or trying to remove your clothing. And telling someone you don't want to do something can sometimes feel hard. It's normal to worry about disappointing people, especially if you like them, but you don't have to apologize or explain yourself. Just saying no or stop is enough. Here are some ways to say no. I don't like that. I'm not into that. I'm not ready for that. I really like you, but I don't want to do that right now. I'll only do that if we use a condom. How about we do something else instead? If the person you're with is pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do, it means that they are not respecting your boundaries. That's not cool. Now, let's see how you would handle certain consent situations. Pause the video, read the scenario, and think how you would handle it. How does this make you feel? What do you think they're trying to communicate? How would you clarify what they want or don't want? What would you say? You're at a party and you see your crush. You start flirting with them and put your arm around them. They get a little quiet and look away. Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You start kissing your partner and they tell you that they're really tired. Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You ask someone you like for their number, and they say they're not sure they want to give it to you. Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You're making out with someone on a bed, and they're just kind of laying there, not saying much. Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You ask if your partner has been tested for sexually transmitted infections, and they say that they're clean. Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You walk your crush home and ask if you can come inside. They really don't answer with anything but, Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You ask your partner if they're using any kind of birth control. They respond with, "Don't worry about it." Pause the video and consider how you would respond. You're hanging out with someone you had sex with for the first time a few days ago. They seem quiet and standoffish when you start kissing them, even though they were really into it the other night. How does this make you feel? What do you think they're trying to communicate? How would you clarify what they want or don't want? What would you say? Pause the video and consider how you would respond. After considering those scenarios, you may be wondering, what happens if I didn't give consent? If you say no or stop to someone and they don't, that's sexual assault. It is never okay for someone to touch you without your permission, and it's not your fault if they do. If you've been sexually abused or assaulted or raped, help is available.